Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Knox Makers. It's Tuesday night, and by long-standing tradition, the night of the week that we gather for show and share to show off projects that we're working on, regardless of their state, successful, failure, or stalled somewhere in between. We have several projects tonight to share, and we're going to get started with Karen, who's got a quilt.
Hello, so y'all have seen the long arm machine. Some of you might have seen the long arm machine that's out there. Let's see. It's new to the sewing area. We're very excited to have it, and I wanted to show you what's possible. Just finished this quilt, and I brought it with me, so if you actually want to see it, I'm too short to actually hold it up, but no, you're not going to be tall enough either. So I had to have two guys stand on the front of a fire truck and hold it up to, yeah. And so this is the back.
Can you zoom in on the overhead?
Oh. Whoa. Oh, there it is. Oh, you don't want to see all of them. You just want to see that one. There we go. Oh. But I have it, and I'll have it here this evening if you want to look at it over in the sewing area. I do have a smaller one, though, to kind of get a better idea of the different things you can do on that particular machine. This one is almost finished. My son is into gaming, and so he wanted a quilt that he could lay on the couch and use all his gaming shirts. And so I took some of his gaming shirts that had been signed and put them all in a quilt for him, and now I'm just in the process of binding. So binding for me is done by hand. You don't necessarily have to do it by hand, but you can. This one is this particular quilt's going to be a charity donation for an auction in Houston. So they're doing it's for the Rotary Club sponsors a place for firefighters who are getting cancer treatment to stay. So this particular quilt's going to hopefully bring them a lot of money. We'll see.
That's fantastic. I love that you use the actual shirts, the keepsakes. That's really cool. Next up, we've got Rihanna, who's going to show off octopus masks.
Hi, hello. So I have been working on these octopus masks on and off for pirate costumes for myself. So the first one that I did, I actually have here, and that's an in-progress picture with it. And then so when it was finished, it ended up looking like this. And I do have the actual mask here. It's a little too delicate for me to pass around, but I will have it here if you guys want to see it. I've been hanging out in the sewing space because that's where I feel comfortable. But I do have this one here with me. So this was version number 1 of my octopus mask, which ended up turning out to be more cuttlefish vibes than octopus vibes, which I was not mad at. So I'm redoing it again because these tentacles did not turn out very floppy as would be desirable. So I'm now making a second one, which is much floppier and hopefully gonna turn out to be pretty sick. It's obviously still in the beginning stages, but it does fit on my head and it's a little bit smaller, so hopefully it won't look like a bobblehead. But yeah, everything's going pretty well. This one's entirely made out of foam so far, the new one. It's upholstery foam as well as craft foam. I don't really have anything else to say. This one is made out of paper mache for this part. And then this is fabric. These are pool noodles. That's why they're not super flexible. They were heat formed. There's no wire. And then this is actually, I don't know if you can see. Oh, there's the texture. That's cool. I can't show you the inside, but there's like upholstery foam and insulation foam on the inside here, so it's very hot. And I can't see out of it very well because the mesh is between here, sunken in. So hopefully I'll fix that in this one, but we'll find out together. You in the front.
You said they're pool noodles?
Yeah, I cut them long ways and then shaped them with scissors.
And then painted them?
Yeah, and then there's
That's so
let me move this. So we have these like little suction cups that are foam clay that I foolishly thought would stick on its own, so they're not actually glued on there. So some of them have fallen off.
That's really cool.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Is it part of a general, some other kind of costume, or you just love octopuses?
So I really like to dress as a pirate. This is actually my pirate jacket, which I wore in sport. But like I pattern drafted this from scratch and made it by hand and sewed it by hand. And so the octopus was really just an extension of the pirate project rather than the pirate project being an extension of my love of octopus.
Fair.
Question, one, do you wear that as, for Halloween? And two, you said there's one that's made out of two pieces of foam, so you just glue the foam together and sculpted it?
Yes, I have worn it for Halloween, not every year. And I also just wear it around for funsies around Knoxville sometimes. And this one is made out of multiple pieces of upholstery foam. Let me figure out how to zoom out. Okay. So here you can see some of the seams that we have going on. And they're contact cemented together. And then, so there, where this ruffle is also another seam that I've sandwiched that other piece of foam in as well.
Is it intended to be hollow so you can fit it in?
Yeah, so I can fit my head in both of these. This one has like a headband structure inside that keeps it on my head. And I haven't finished my face part yet for this one, so you can still obviously see that I'm a person in here. But this one fits on my head much more successfully so far because it's more finished. But, and I don't know if you guys can still hear me, but
Where do you see from?
I can see out of here and out of here.
And what's your range of vision?
Pretty crap, actually. I can see like that. That's zero peripheral at all. I hope to fix that in this one, but I don't know how well it's gonna go. I'm gonna try to, instead of having the holes completely vertical, try to make them more of an angle, which looks better for cuttlefish, so it may work in my benefit, but I don't know yet. Is that
Get the weight in the foam on the other one, was that?
in
Yeah,
this one?
yeah.
So currently these are you talking about the ruffle? I took pictures of this because I anticipated a question and I didn't know how to explain it otherwise. So those are actually, I cut this shape out of foam and then when you straighten it out, it forces it into that. And then I glued just the very edge between the other two pieces of upholstery foam around the perimeter. And then I did have to add a little triangle right here as like almost a gusset to force that tip to do what I wanted because it wasn't cooperating. So the eyes on this one are made out of, there's a piece of cardboard as the back and it's just flat, and then the dome is actually half of a Christmas ornament from Hobby Lobby. Is that the final question? If you guys think of any more questions, you can come find me after this, and I am happy to answer them or let you take a gander at either one. I think I've exceeded my 3 minutes, so I'm going to sit down now.
Okay, that was boss. I was actually getting Guild Navigator vibes, like you're getting ready to fold space. So, are you dressed as a pirate for International Talk Like a Pirate Day, or is this just how you would have dressed anyway? All right, very cool. Next up, we've got Colin, who has brought something that is absolutely not a lamp.
I knew you'd be disappointed. However, what it will do is it will still light your way. But it's not a lamp. So I saw the guy on Black Bear Ford making these, and I just thought it was such a cool idea. And so I have been making candle holders, and you start off with a piece of black iron pipe. It looks like that. Simple gas pipe, you get it from the hardware store. And then, for those of you that remember some time ago, I did the guillotine tool. Well, there's that piece of pipe heated up red hot and in the guillotine tool, where we're forging down to make the edge, which is this piece here. And we get it right the way down, and then we start to flare the end out on the end of the anvil. And then we make the dish. Now the little dish starts out as a square piece of plate, and you cut the corners off, cut it round, grind it roughly into a circle, drill a hole in it, and then you dish it out, again forming the curve that allows the handle to clear the table, and you raise the center up so that you can conceal the fact that it's got a bolt in the back. And there it is without the handle, just assembled. And what you do, once you've got the this piece down to the size you want, cut that off, and you drill the end, tap it a 1/4-20, and then it bolts on to the bolts on between the two parts. And then this bit, just drill 2 holes and then put 2 rivets in. I've used, they're actually mono rivets, so they're a very high strength rivet. We just had a bunch of those up at the airport where I work, so nicked a few. And that's pretty much it. Blow that out. And the show off bit. The handles are basically the same shape, but I've tried variations on length and how big a curve you have here. So what sits in your hand right. Oh. There you go. Okay, so the 2 handles you see, they're basically, as I say, the same shape, but one's obviously a lot taller than the other. And so far it's been a case of some people like one, some people like the other. So plan is to make a bunch of these and perhaps have them on display, do one as a demonstration for the Makers Market. So, any? The cup and the dish I can do in a little over an hour. The handle, again, is fairly quick, probably 15-20 minutes. These two, this one in particular, I cleaned up with at work on a wire wheel. That took a while. The rest, what I'm probably going to do is to heat them and treat them with wax, stop them rusting. That way they can stay what we call in the black. But all in all, probably for the polish state, there's about maybe 4.5 hours in each. Yes, sir.
Did you have a mandrel of some kind to make that saucer?
The first one I just used tried using the swage block. which has a hemispherical thing, but that didn't really fit terribly well. The rest of them, what I've done is you just heat the piece of plate up, hold it at an angle, and use a rounding hammer and just work it round till you get as much dish as you want. And then doing the centerpiece, what I did was there's just a lump of metal over there with a suitable size hole in it, and heat it up, stick it on there, and I've got a bolt with some fender washers on. Just drop that in the center, give it a whack, and it makes that depression and makes it the top of it fairly flat, so that when you bolt it on, it stays, it doesn't go too far off kilter.
Are you gonna have a booth at the Makers Market?
We'll just be like we did last time, and just have the table outside the forge, because we'll be doing the demonstrations. And this is actually one you can do while people are watching, and it's a reasonably interesting one. It's not overly complicated, so you know, I had like 3.5 hours watching somebody pound on a piece of metal.
Are you going to sell them? Are you going to sell them?
Yeah, I think, yeah. Hopefully, well, it depends if anybody will buy them. I'm hoping to, yes. All right.
All right, thank you, Colin. I don't know if we all just sort of like instinctively tease Russell at this point. Last week we were trying to pin him down on what actually constitutes a lamp, and I think we may have given him a small-scale existential crisis, but it was fun. Large scale, sorry. Next up, we've got Joe, who has brought a whole entire grow operation to show us. Not that kind, Russell.
Okay, some people know I like to make tomatoes from dirt, and I'm changing now. I'm making tomatoes indoors under lights in water, and they're actual tomatoes. They're not closet tomatoes, and I have proof of it, I think, right here. Anyway, it's not going to turn for me. These are the little baby tomatoes. Some of you may have seen them before. They get completely covered with delicious little 1-inch tomatoes, and I'm growing them indoors under lights on a shelf. But I'm also working on a new kind of a system where I will have a growth environment, a kind of a little tent that's 1/4 meter, and I'm just prototyping it right now. And I just, believe it or not, started on it 4 o'clock this afternoon. This might be what people will be more interested in seeing. These pipes came from Lowe's. These corner pieces all came from Amazon because they're ridiculous at Lowe's or Home Depot. They're like $3 or $4 each, and on Amazon they're maybe $1 each. Anyway, so this sits like this, and the light is going to be hanging from it, and I will not turn on the light because you people want to be able to see later on tonight. And then it's got a tray that sits in the bottom, and this will be filled with a water that has some fertilizer in it, so I'm not really going to be organic. And there's a tray over it, sorry about that, that has these little cups, and they will sit in there, and they will sit with their roots in the water. It's called a Kratky system, and I should be able to grow 8 good-sized tomato plants in this thing. And I'm going to have a fan on the top, and I'm doing all this actually because I just, in the process of getting back into graduate school, which is one of the weirdest things I've ever done. Seriously, I mean, The only people on campus I identify with are the homeless guys that are wandering through. And I take a bus to and from a class that stops at the sorority center first. So I've got like, there's 40 sorority girls on there and me. Both directions, they were kind of all going like this. So that's weird. Anyway, I'll bring this back when I get it finished, and then I can show people some actual plants. And yes?
What's the system you call it?
It's called Kratky. It's a variety of hydroponics where you just basically you put the plant in here with some rock wool, and you put it in the water, and then the roots, as the water drops down in that bucket, the roots will continue and stay in the water as it goes down. So you don't have to water it. It should take it all the way through the plant, before you replant. And that's a lot more convenient than having to run a bubbler or pump water or things like that like you do with regular hydroponics. Of course, one of the reasons I'm doing this is for developing control systems. Right now, I'm just trying to develop a lamp. This could be a nice little lamp in the corner of your living room, Russell. Yeah, and it's a lamp that actually you can eat the tomatoes that grow from it. So, any other questions? Yes.
So do you start it from a plant, or do you start it from a seed in that little container?
You could actually do it either way. I tend to start everything from seeds and transplant, and tomatoes are really easy to transplant. But I'm also growing cucumbers and various real herbs, actual herbs, not, those other kind of herbs, tomatoes and cucumbers and lettuce. I'm growing a lot of lettuce on the shelves. I'm telling you, if you ever want to get into this, just get a shelf, get some lights over it, and grow lettuce, and within a month, you can start supplying yourself with all the lettuce you're going to eat from just a 2x4 shelf. Seriously, it grows really fast.
You have to use that same system?
No, that's a different system. There's all kinds of systems for it. Yeah, Tracy?
Joe, you said these were miniatures, right?
Uh,
You keep them miniature?
my hearing is not.
You keep these miniature plants?
Yes, I'm trying to work exclusively with some yeah. My wife, by the way, is very interested in this, with some dwarf plants. And I found a wonderful dwarf tomato plant, and one of the genetics Frankenstein experimenters over at UT has said, oh, she's got one that's really super dwarf that's, she worked out how to change the genetics, so I'm going to be carefully growing some of those, although I'm not sure I want to eat them. Yeah, I'm going to call them dwarf Audreys. How about that? Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I was actually telling Joe just before, I recently started resin printing, like 3D printing, and I had no idea how much really vile fumes that stuff puts off. And so I got on the internet and looked to see what would be a good ventilation system to use with this resin printer, and I bought this top-rated one, and when it arrived at my house, it had this incredible glossy, overproduced instruction manual on how to do the other kind of hydroponics. So that's another list I'm joining some of you on now, apparently. That was exciting. Next up, we've got Tracy, who has got Red's Cottage to show.
Hi guys. So it's almost Halloween, and I thought I'd show you ways I try and recycle my spools for my PLA filament. So, let's see. Zoom out. So, filament roll. Obviously, get tons of these the more you print. So I thought, well, you can't see it from there. See little feet I put on in So I printed out these little feet, and you can do wolves, cats, whatever strikes your fancy. But for this cottage, I picked these, they're kind of like wolf feet there. So I started out with a bird feeder print that I swiped off Thingiverse, and so I thought it kind of looked like a cool shape. So I started experimenting with it, and I thought I'd give it a try with colored hot glue to see how that would do. I will tell you, it makes a huge mess, but I like the texture of it. So, see if you can see that. It's pretty clear, I guess. Is that? Oh, that's upside down, isn't it? Upside down for you guys. I'm so sorry. Okay. So so obviously the texture is the colored hot glue. And these are different. I printed out half a chimney and stuck on there, another part of a chimney. This is a decorative stencil. You can get much, if you wanted to go for detail, you could print out things that were, a lot more precise. But I thought I'd experiment with something that gave more of an impression than a masterpiece. So if you wanted to print out, whatever it was that you're creating, you can print out things that are a lot more precise for decoration, but if that was the way you wanted to go. I will say that I found out that hot glue you can use to fill in these silhouettes, and I thought that was pretty cool. Oops, upside down again. So that actually worked out. It wasn't so hot that it melted my filament, and I like the way it turned out. So, but another problem I ran into was planning ahead. That's a big deal. I still haven't learned that. My art teacher in high school, which was a really long time ago, used to say that. But as you can see, I cut out this cellophane that I painted yellow. I cut out and covered the different openings. And then I realized, oh, I have to have one open because I can't get the other one in there. And I put, let's see if I can show you. I kind of roughly cut out the bottom there so that I could stick a couple of LEDs in there and hook them up to a 12-volt battery. So, but that's just a, yay! We'll see if it works. But anyway, so, fun stuff for Halloween. Eventually it'll look like this. But it was kind of like Red Riding Hood's cottage, because here's her basket, and she has her own axe. So the wolf is no more, but little play on fear there. Any questions? I have an Ender 3. Yeah, so lots of fun there. Yeah.
With the molds that you filled in with hot glue, did you paint them black first, or is it black hot glue?
That's black. That was what I was playing with, the colored hot glue, which
Okay.
I'm sure has been around forever, but I somehow hadn't used it yet, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I didn't know there's color. Okay.
I know. It's so fun. Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Tracy. Next up, we've got Lori, who's going to show us Mothra.
You're excited about that one, but it's not quite what you think it's gonna be. I know. All right, so make sure I have this the right way. So a couple of years ago, I made this butterfly, and it's made out of fabric. It's all just sewn fabric and plush and fleece. It's fleece and then needlepoint and things like that. And it's really big. And my daughter actually loves bugs, and she's going into scientific illustration. So I thought, hey, she's gonna kind of like this. And she's like, oh, I'll have it on my wall. And then she saw that it's like 18 by 18, and she's like, it's a little too unrealistic for me. And I'm like, all right, I'll still hold on to it. So this last summer, she went to Ireland, and she sent me this picture of this moth, and it's called garden tiger moth. And she had it on her hand, and she was so excited about it. And she sent me close-up pictures of it. So I'm like, ooh, this is something I can make her that she might want. So I used this as a diagram to get the actual colors and everything on the wings and everything. And I started making, because using fabric, it's hard to get like a 3D feel of it, except for if you're doing gussets and darts and things like that. And I'm still trying to learn all that. So this is actually needle felting using wool. So I was able to needle felt that, and the pipe cleaners, trying to find little cool pipe cleaners like that was fun. But needle felting for me is dangerous because I'm really accident prone, and I stab myself a lot. So I don't know how Susanna does it. So I wanted to do a mixture of dry needle felting and wet felting. So I drew out the wings, and I did wet felting on the wings. And I made this. And the only thing I want to change, whoops, come on, get down there. So I made this, and it turned out it's a little bigger, but at least I made this to give my daughter, and she said she does like this. So, I put pipe cleaners in the legs, and the only thing is I ran out of brown wool, so I need to get more to make the back of it a lot fuzzier. But it turned out pretty, let me go wide. But I think it turned out pretty well for like my first big dry felting and wet felting adventure. So, and I sent a picture of it to my daughter, and she's like, there was a little bit of iridescent purple in the wings, so I added that in there. So, but yeah, so I'm learning how to do that new thing. Yeah. So you can see the little legs and position them and stuff. And I only hurt myself a few times trying to do it. But yeah, it was kind of fun. I'll actually pass it around. It's kind of durable. So it was kind of fun to do. So yeah.
Do you have to trim the antenna yourself?
No, I got those at Joann's. They came in a package, and there's light brown and black brown. I bought some black ones thinking that the antenna were black, and I would have to cut them. And then I went there one night, and I'm like, I saw them, and I'm like, oh, I don't have to cut these. So I was going to wait to do it if I had to cut it, and then when I found those, I couldn't wait anymore. So I just did it one night while I watched Cocaine Bear. It was fun. So it took me about 3 hours to do. So it was fun, though. All right, any other questions? No, cool.
Okay, contrary to your expectation, I love that. We don't have enough heartwarming etymological stories here. And I have seen those goofy pipe cleaners so many times and thought, what are those things for? Now I know. Finally tonight, we've got Russell, who has brought something that lights up.
You know, we really have a theme going on here. If I can get Lori to put some lights in that bug, everybody had a light. Colin had a primitive light. Joe has lights to turn dirt into, or water into tomatoes. The little house lights up. So I think we should call this Light Makers.
Maybe you can attract Lori's mom.
Oh, that's right. We could attract them all. Okay. This is not as exciting as last week's, but it's what the customer ordered. It is a lamp. I always recommend that if you're doing this and you have more than one thing that lights up, to draw your wiring out so that you can make sure you get all the wires in the right place. Because as it turns out, when I did this one, you'll see when I plug it in, if I can plug it in. I forgot to put a switch in it. So, this is the hole for the switch. This will turn on with a knob up here, dimmable. And this swings open, so you can insert the most expensive part of this lamp, which is a Blanton's bourbon bottle. I cannot afford Blanton's. I actually have to buy these bottles. They run anywhere from $20 to $30 a piece for an empty stinking bottle. But that's what the customer ordered, so that's what they get. So after I get the switch in for the LED, he'll have a light up bottle or a regular lamp. Fortunately, when I wired this one, and I'll show you this because it may come in handy next time you build a lamp. I use these little fellas for wiring, little Wago. You can open this up, stick the wire in, close it down, and you've got a great connection. So since I use that in this one, I don't have to cut, unsolder, or whatever. I just put the switch in, undo the Wagos, put another one in for the switch, and boom, it's complete. So I've got a good day and a half, 2 days work. So how much is 2 days? For retired people, that's what, 4 hours? So, no, actually, I've probably got about 8 or 10 hours in this one over a period of time. And so with another 15 minutes, it should be complete. And there you have one more lamp, or one more thing that lights up anyway. Joe?
Will it have a shade?
It can have a shade. This type socket will accept one of those where it will fit right down on here, or you could put one of the little harp things on it. But
When your client is actually using this, would they use the shade or not?
probably not. Most of these lamps that are made out of bottles, they would prefer the, these old style Edison lamps.
What kind of bulb is that?
It's just an old copy of an old Edison bulb.
Where do you get that?
That's a secret. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, they wanted an Edison bulb. No, you can order them.
How do they explain what they wanted?
Oh, he just said that he wanted to use a salesman's sample as the base. And this is actually a sample from cedar chest salesman from way back in the day. So that's why they call them salesman sample boxes. And he wanted the Blanton bottle and an Edison bulb. So that was the description. So this is where we arrived when it was all done. And you can get these off Amazon and different lighting suppliers online. But incandescent lamps apparently are outlawed now. So I don't know what that's going to bring on. Yeah. Is that all? Thank you, thank you, thank you.
After you enjoy this, the lampshade goes on your head, right? All right, friends, I have a few announcements for you. We have several classes coming up in the next few days. Significantly, on Saturday, which is September the 23rd, we have a laser cutting off class. And for the first time since I can remember, I looked and there were tickets available. So that is like a wicked hard class to get into. If you are not authorized for the laser, buy those tickets right away so you can start lasering things. On Sunday, which is September the 24th, we have our monthly board meeting, and that will happen from 4 p.m. until 6 p.m. That's online, so we'll be posting a link to that in the Mattermost chat. You're welcome to join and witness the sausage being made if you would like. And I would remind you that next Tuesday, which is September the 26th, is our next new member onboarding session. So if you are on the path towards a membership and you still need new member onboarding, or if you are a member and you would like to hang out with new prospective members, it will be a fine time. and that will happen after the ordinary festivities of Tuesday, something like 7:30 p.m. Also, I will remind you for the umpteenth time that the next Maker Market, the Fall Maker Market, is happening on Sunday, October the 1st. That will be from noon until 5 p.m. It's going to be amazing. I hope that you will all plan to not be working in the workshop. We're going to be giving lots of tours, and I hope if you haven't already done so, that you give serious consideration to volunteering and helping make the magic happen on that blessed Sunday. Aliki has got the head of that project, and there is a sign-up sheet for volunteering. You can, of course, also speak to Russell, our inimitable volunteer coordinator. There are many different delightful things to be done, and you may get in where you fit in. We always have a really good time with it, and I think you will too. Related to that, I will remind you that we are once again doing the mystery art capsule machine as part of the market. This is something that Sean came up with and has been a dynamite hit. And so we're working on doing that again. We're trying to collect tiny bits of art, whatever it is that you make in your style, anything that will fit in one of those wee capsules to be vended by quarters. Sean is hungry for your tiny bits of art, so please make them and stuff them into capsules so that we may vend them. Finally, we do need somebody to volunteer for us and change the air filters tonight. Who may I rely on to change the air filters? In the back right, you, the tall gentleman. Yes, please, thank you very much. And with that, I think we have concluded our on-paper festivities. Let us go out in the workshop, make weird stuff, and hang out. Thank you for being with us tonight.